This video is going to be how I converted my 2004 lock switch off the driver's door for my Ford Excursion Limited, and basically used parts from this and then the new 2008 to 10 lock switch parts out of this, built them to rebuild them together and make a functional lock switch that works with the factory plug. So this is also about the only way you can get around the factory vehicle security module, or VSM, if you're going to upgrade these lock systems, from what I've been told. I don't know that for sure myself because I'm not an electrician, but this seems to be the general consensus. So I'll go ahead and pull these apart and show you how they need to be put back together to make them function properly, and it will look just like this when we're done, but this will be the bottom of the plug, so this will be gone. Okay, I've got the two lock switches out of their respective housings. The old one from 2004 is very easy to get out. There's only two little plastic catches on either side of this, and that comes out without too much trouble. I didn't have to take out the window control switch module there. The newer one was a completely different story. It's got there's four plastic catches there, and it is a pain to get out. So I ended up pulling out the master window control, and then I was able to reach in there and get a hold of both sides a little easier. Finally got that out. So that's what we're going to do next. Is we're going to actually, before I started that one, but we need this and that out of the old one, and then obviously this section is what mates up there very thoroughly, so we need that, and then obviously the newer switch, the rocker switch. So we're going to pull that off. So we'll do that real quick, and then we're also going to, I'll show you how we trim up the plastic to make that made up. So I've already done this on my passenger window or passenger door lock, and it worked out great. Had no issues with it functionality wise and fitment. Once it goes back together, it looks factory from the top, and then from the back it almost can't tell either. So we'll continue on here. I've got my switches apart here. So we get the new style here. It's 4 pieces, and then the old style. To take this apart, this is very simple. You get a tiny little flathead screwdriver, and then right here, this actually connects right there inside. So you just flip under there, pop that off on both sides. That rubber switch comes off, the switch cover, and then you've got to take these 4 plastic catches out of the holes here. The bottom separates, and then the circuit board comes out with the actual switch and the LEDs there. So the old LEDs and the new LEDs are the same color, which is convenient. Like I said, what we need is the bottom, the circuit board, and these pins here to match up with the plug that's on the truck. So what we'll do now is we actually pop off this rocker, the black rocker switch will come off of the new one, and it just pops right on to the old one in place of that white one right there. So gotta get under there delicately, and that comes off. So there's that. And then we do the same on the old white one. and that one comes off. So if you notice, they're basically the same from the pivot point down. The difference is the newer one's got the black piece that sticks up farther. So, and then all you do is take your black one and insert that into the old circuit board. And now that one made up with the new switch cover. Once that all goes back together, that's how that works. So if you wanted to change out your LED colors under your switch covers now, you could do that, but that's more than what I want to mess with. I'm fine with the way they look anyhow, so I'm not going to do that here. So we'll get back to modifying these housings to work together now so that we can mate up this lower housing with the upper housing and its corresponding switch. So here is the completed, it's not assembled right now, but I got everything trimmed the way it needs to be to fit together. What you'll need to do is figure out your orientation, and then we'll extend these slots. I use a razor knife. Make sure you get a sharp one, otherwise you'll either slip and hurt yourself or slip and trash something like I almost did on the passenger side. You line these up and just make sure you extend this slot over enough to catch this little plastic protuberance there, and then on the same side, on the other side, make sure you do the same thing. On this part right here, you'll have to trim this away. There's a little raised piece that needs to be trimmed off. On this other side, there's a little raised piece that needs to be trimmed off. There's a couple pieces in here. There's a raised part that needs to be trimmed away here, about to the level of the ones that stop about halfway, and the same thing on this side. I also trimmed away this one a little bit, right to there. The other side I didn't need to mess with. So a good lesson here is make sure that you have your orientation correct when you go to do all this trimming, because I made the mistake of having it in the wrong configuration and trimmed it all up, and then it was the switches were reversed. So when I went to test them out, I had the lock as unlock and vice versa. So I had to go back and change these again a little bit more in the other direction on a few of them, and now everything works exactly as it should. So if you start to dry fit this and you notice that if you'll see the circuit board, the switch sits a little offset in that. It's a little off center, and it's pretty much dead center on this is the newer one. So you basically have to get it in there the right way, otherwise the rocker will, the actual switch cover will rub and it'll want to hang up on one side instead of returning to center. So that's how you know if you start dry fitting things and you're getting it off center in there in that hole, that's going to be a problem. So basically we can just put everything back together now, and there we go. So yep. So it's clip in there, that side clips in there. That works pretty well. Once you pull down on everything, it lines up nice and even. It's not sitting in there goofy. So this will go back on that way. Make sure that I don't flip-flop those switches there. So, and that's your rocker switch. So that'll go back in. And you're good. That's all that's required with that. For these, you had to repin the plugs on the truck side to make these work, and get this plug from either junkyard or you know, buying online or something like that, and take the old plug out. So but that was really not a big deal to make the master window switch work here. This was obviously a little more effort, but looks pretty factory now. It sits in there pretty square and centered, and it's not going anywhere. There's no issue with pushing down on the top and popping it out. So good luck with everything. If you have any questions, feel free to ask on there. I hope you have a great day.